Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 famous women done dirty by their fictional adaptations.
Squirm as you play the queen.
Play the queen. I am a queen.
For this list, we're looking at historical women whose real lives were reduced to caricature, or fictionalized to the point of blatant disrespect. Which of these fictional portrayals was most egregious to you? Let us know in the comments. Number 10. Jenny Lind, The Greatest Showman. Its themes of celebrating difference made it a worldwide blockbuster. But The Greatest Showman was criticized for playing fast and loose with the details of P.T. Barnum's life. One particularly false element is the portrayal of Swedish opera singer Jenny Lind.
Well, in the world of publicity, there's hardly a difference.
I believe those are the words of a scoundrel, Mr. Barnum.
Played by Rebecca Ferguson, Lind is portrayed as a temptress who tries to romance Barnum, despite his marriage to his long-suffering wife. Lind's real-life reputation is markedly different.
Voice of a nightingale, heart of an angel.
That's brilliant. I mean, the press will go crazy for that story.
That's not a story.
There was no evidence of any flirtation, let alone that she quit the show because he didn't reciprocate her feelings. In actuality, she was a charitable woman who was said to have quit Barnum's troupe because she found his marketing gimmicks exhausting. In other words, The Greatest Showman's depiction is way off.
People come to my show for the pleasure of being hoodwinked. Just once I'd love to give them something real.
Number 9. Amelia Earhart. Amelia. Considering Amelia Earhart was a trailblazing adventurer, it's unforgivable how much of a snooze fest this 2009 biopic is.
When I left, I was aiming for Paris.
Oh, you missed, you know.
Starring Hilary Swank, Amelia wasn't criticized for its inaccuracy as much as it was for how conventional it is. Given that Amelia Earhart was known for her ambition, passion, and competitive nature, the movie's attempts to soften her run counter to the woman herself.
People viewing you as Lady Lindy, America's sweetheart of the skies, the wife, mother, daughter they all wished they'd had, would be helpful.
Thanks for the tip.
Instead of trying to replicate the adrenaline rush, the film opts to go inward, which kind of leaves us wondering what attracts Earhart to the danger of flying in the first place. It seems completely out of step with what her life was all about.
Who wants a life imprisoned in safety?
Number 8. Isabella of France, Braveheart. Mel Gibson's war epic is full of historical inaccuracies. This isn't a crime in itself. Some history just doesn't play on screen. But the movie's treatment of Isabella of France, a princess and later Queen of England, is pretty simplistic given the real woman's historical record.
Why do you help me?
Because of the way you're looking at me now.
A romance between William Wallace and an adult Isabella was created for the screenplay, although the real Isabella was a kid when Wallace was executed. The movie even suggests that Wallace was father to her son, the future King Edward III.
Your blood dies with you. A child who is not of your line grows in my belly. Your son will not sit long on the throne, I swear it.
Despite its inaccuracy, it's one of the few more positive portrayals of the Queen. In real life, she was mythologized as a political power player who had a hand in overthrowing her husband, Edward II.
The king will be dead in a month and his son is a weakling. Who do you think will rule this kingdom? Now open this door.
Number 7. Sacagawea The Far Horizons. Many children first hear the name Sacagawea in elementary school.
She knew about the land and how to survive on it.
She's very important in a symbolic sense as a type of emblem of peace.
The Lemhi-Shoshone woman was only a teenager when she assisted Meriwether Lewis and William Clark in their expedition in Louisiana. The 1955 movie The Far Horizons decided to fill in the gaps of the story in poor fashion.
I would rather look at the river.
So would I.
Oscar winner Donna Reed was cast as Sacagawea and donned brownface for the role. The movie also invented a romantic subplot between her and William Clark, played by Charlton Heston. Playing into misogynistic and racist stereotypes of the classic Western, Sacagawea unfortunately becomes little more than a naive romantic object in this film.
You have fought for me and you have won.
Well,
I belong to you now.
Number 6. Winnie Mandela. Winnie Mandela. If you're gonna make a biopic about a living historical figure and not consult with them at all, you might have to prepare for some pushback.
Now please take a picture.
I would rather you didn't.
Winnie Mandela, anti-apartheid activist and former wife of Nelson Mandela, had a life worthy of a miniseries. It's not all pretty either, and would require more than a conventional story told from behind rose-colored glasses. However, that is exactly what audiences got in 2011, when Oscar winner Jennifer Hudson starred in a sappy semi-adaptation of Mandela's life.
We are talking about love, something you obviously know nothing about.
Centering Mandela's relationship with her once husband, the movie doesn't dig nearly deep enough into the realities of her harassment and torture or even her later criminal activity. Mandela herself, who passed away in 2018, spoke out against the film, calling it disrespectful.
You have not answered my question.
You have no right to ask me that question.
Number 5. Marilyn Monroe, Blonde.
Daddy, you won't ever write about me, will you?
Darling, of course not. Why would I do such a thing?
It's what people do.
Marilyn Monroe has unfortunately been fodder for writers since her early death at the age of 36. One of the most extreme and controversial of these portrayals is Andrew Dominik's 2022 movie Blonde.
At the premiere, I shut my eyes a lot. I couldn't believe that girl was me.
Based on Joyce Carol Oates' novel, which takes liberties of its own, Blonde continues to make Monroe seem like a perpetual victim in her own life. Its sole innovations seem to be taking that idea to its extreme. Mental illness, parental neglect, old-fashioned Hollywood sexism, assault, abuse, and even the termination of a pregnancy are treated like hysteria-filled spectacle to be gawked at. It is heartbreaking, but according to many critics, it's also needlessly exploitative of a figure who's been exploited enough.
Maybe we should leave. I'm afraid of some of the people here.
Number 4. Nina Simone, Nina. Afro-Latina actress Zoe Saldana's casting as the singer and civil rights activist caused an immediate uproar. When she was cast to replace original star Mary J. Blige in 2012, the internet was not kind.
What happened, Nina? Why are you here?
Saldana's capable but completely different singing voice was one thing, but the issues ran much deeper. Considering how much of Nina Simone's life, identity, and career were impacted and defined by her appearance, Saldana's lighter complexion was seen as an insult.
What she is doing, though, is reflecting a problem in Hollywood, which is that dark-skinned people don't get roles, even playing dark-skinned people.
It added fuel to the fire when it was revealed that her skin was darkened and prosthetics used to attempt to match Simone's look. Even the actress herself would later express her regret over agreeing to star in the film.
I should have tried everything in my power to cast a black woman. I thought back then that I had the permission.
Number 3. Diana, Princess of Wales, Diana. The same year Kristen Stewart was impressing audiences with her vulnerable and complex portrayal of the People's Princess, Netflix viewers were given something entirely different.
I suppose it's time for a reality check. The pretty princess just stuck at her neck.
This filmed production of the critically panned and short-lived Broadway musical is as confusing as it is disappointing. Though some of its more memorable missteps are ironically hilarious, its so bad it's good moments are far outweighed by its just plain bad moments.
I hear you offer lessons.
There's only one type of lesson I offer. Riding lessons.
James Hewitt.
Though I assumed your husband gives you riding lessons.
He's tried. He's not very good.
You go, girl.
Critics agreed, whether live or filmed, it was a fairly tasteless attempt to musicalize Diana's life. She was a deeply important figure and isn't treated with nearly the amount of care necessary here. The whopping 5 Razzie wins the film picked up speak for themselves.
I'm simply trying to do what everyone expects of me. It's rather difficult, isn't it?
Number 2. Cleopatra, Rome. Cleopatra, Queen of Egypt, was a power player in her own right. She was well-educated and had a strategic mind. However, in many fictional accounts, she is often reduced to a woman who happens to rule a kingdom between lovers.
Their ship docked an hour ago. They're on their way to the palace now, and they request an immediate audience with you.
How delicious.
Since before Shakespeare, the story of her life has been divided into chapters coinciding with the powerful men she was involved with. The HBO series Rome plays into this version of Cleopatra.
My wishes are immaterial. You redeemed me from captivity. I am your slave.
Throughout its episodes, she is a smoldering temptress who volleys between brutality and sexuality in order to get her way. All in all, it's just not a nuanced or layered depiction of the woman at all.
I never wanted to harm you.
Of course you did not.
Before we unveil our top pick, here are some honorable mentions. Marie Antoinette. Marie Antoinette. Some felt that attempts to humanize the queen downplayed her political savvy.
Russians and the Austrians have taken over a third of Poland, which is, of course, distressing, as Poland is a friend and ally of France.
Which sleeve do you like, with ruffles or without?
Joan Crawford and Christina Crawford, Mommy Dearest. This melodrama reduced its characters to caricature and mishandled serious subject matter.
No war! Hangers!
Olivia de Havilland, Feud. The actress actually sued FX Networks and Ryan Murphy over her portrayal in the series.
A feud implies continuing hostile conduct between two parties. I can't remember an instance where I instigated hostile behavior.
Anne Boleyn, The Other Boleyn Girl. A movie so wildly inaccurate and sleazy that it almost feels like character assassination. Jane Hawking, The Theory of Everything. Though based on her memoirs, the movie largely ignores Hawking's own identity.
I have loved you. I did my best.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Pocahontas. Pocahontas. There really was a Pocahontas. She was taken and converted to Christianity, though the details of that conversion are unclear. She was also known for serving as a go-between for the colonists and her fellow Powhatans. Disney took that story and, well, Disney-fied it. Furry animal friends and all.
Come on, Flick. Quit playing around. We have to get back.
The real woman's story was too complex and too rich for this kind of treatment. Also, John Smith was nowhere near as charming as he is in the movie.
He has a good soul. And he's handsome, too.
Oh, I like her.
Notably, there is no proof of romance between them, owing to a substantial age gap in real life. While this may be a kid's movie, Pocahontas was a real person, and her portrayal here is just one in a long series of indigenous stories being flattened and robbed of context.
Let me explain.
Let go!
No, I'm not letting you leave.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.